Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. Jamaica News in Review. Body of man found in Mayday, Manchester. The body of a man was found along the Mayday Main Road in Manchester on December 11. The deceased has not yet been identified. Police reports that shortly after 7 a.m., passersby stumbled upon the body and alerted them. On their arrival, the man was found with gunshot wounds to the head. The body was removed to the morgue. Investigations continue. Update on 4 killed in Palisades crash yesterday morning. 2 others killed between Clarendon and St. Elizabeth. 4 people are dead and 2 others were injured in the crash along the Palisades Main Road in Kingston on December 11. Police have not released their identities, noting only that the deceased are 2 females and 2 males. The accident occurred at 5:40 a.m. and involved a white Probox and a black Prado Land Cruiser. Preliminary reports are that the driver of the Prado Land Cruiser, who is a Russian national, and his daughter were traveling towards Harborview when the vehicle failed to keep left and collided with the Toyota Probox in which 4 people were traveling. The 6 people were taken to hospital, where all 4 occupants of the Toyota Probox were pronounced dead and the occupants of the Prado Land Cruiser treated and released. Vice Chairman of the National Road Safety Council, Dr. Jones, has described the accident as tragic. He is urging road users to exercise caution when traversing the nation's roads.
The tragic news this morning, coming from the police, of 4 persons who died on the Palisades Road, is a stark reminder of the importance of all Jamaicans to be eternally vigilant on our roads. 451 people have died on our road so far, and we have 20 days left for the end of the year.
And 2 others were killed in separate crashes in St. Elizabeth and Clarendon between December 10 and December 11. Dead are 17-year-old Jaheim Calvert of Harmony Lane, Santa Cruz in St. Elizabeth and 24-year-old Damali Food of Kimemibit, Clarendon. Reports are that the teenager died from injuries he sustained in a motor vehicle accident on the Glennox Main Road in St. Elizabeth. According to the Santa Cruz Police, about 12:05 a.m., Calvert was driving a Nissan Note motorcar from Santa Cruz when he collided with a Subaru Legacy motorcar traveling in the opposite direction that failed to keep left. The police were alerted and the 2 injured occupants of the Subaru Legacy motorcar were transported to hospital, where they were admitted for treatment, while Calvert was pronounced dead. Meanwhile, 24-year-old Damani Ford was killed in a vehicular collision along the Milk River Main Road in Clarendon. Reports were that about 1:30 p.m., Ford was driving a Yang motorcycle along the roadway towards Yorktown when the motorcycle collided with a Toyota Probox car that was traveling in the opposite direction. Ford was thrown from the motorcycle and sustained several injuries. The driver of the motorcar, a woman, was also injured. Both were taken to hospital, where Ford was pronounced dead. Policeman injured in hit and run in St. Mary. A police constable has been hospitalized in serious condition after he was injured in a hit-and-run incident on Sunday in Port Maria, St. Mary. It's reported that about 10 o'clock, members of a special team were in search of a red Yaris motor vehicle suspected to be transporting drugs in the parish. The vehicle was spotted along the main road in Grants Pen, and the driver signaled to stop by the constable. The driver reportedly disobeyed the signal and hit the policeman, who sustained multiple fractures. The suspects escaped. Common law partner charged in Westmoreland murder. The man suspected of killing 40-year-old Karen Williams, the woman whose body was found in shallow grave near her home in Mount Airy District, Westmoreland last week, has been arrested and charged with murder. Charged is 26-year-old Courtney Cooper, otherwise called Junior, of the same address. Cooper was Williams' common law partner at the time of her killing. Cooper surrendered to the Spanish Town Police in St. Catherine on Thursday, where he was arrested and subsequently handed over to the Westmoreland Police. He was charged on Saturday, December 10, following a question and answer interview. His court date is being finalized. A post-mortem that was conducted during the investigation revealed that Williams was choked and stabbed with a knife to the chest. Williams' body was discovered about 7:30 a.m. on Friday, December 2nd. Lawmen reported they visited the house of Williams after family members reported that she was not seen for a while. Checks were made and her decomposing body was found buried in a shallow grave to the rear of the premises. Number of police fatal shooting does not indicate overuse of deadly force, says Fincy-Simmet. Security consultant Robert Fincy-Simmet says the number of fatal shootings by police officers does not reflect any widespread practice of the police to use deadly force in all confrontations with criminals. He was speaking against the background of a report from the Independent Commission of Investigations Indicom that 14 police officers were involved in 112 fatal shootings during the period June 1, 2020 to July 30, 2021. Mr. Francis Smith said it is better that only 14 have been identified, arguing that a higher number of officers would indicate that deadly force is frequently being used and that cops are following what the National Security Minister technically told them some time ago, which is shoot to kill. Has it ever occurred that there are specialist teams within the force that encounter these types of confrontations more often than other people, and they would be the ones to sharpen the stick, so to speak, Mr. Francis Smith suggested. He said police officers are placed in a precarious position when they engage with violent criminals as they try to protect themselves and the lives of others. Mr. Francis Smith noted that if a criminal is killed during a police operation, the officer will face consequences including indictment, legal fees, and the loss of income, whether the killing is justified or not. This, he said, makes some officers hesitant about using their firearm. So it is a very interesting situation, because if someone attacks you with the intent and you retreat, you have no given up ground that you'll probably never get back. On the other hand, if you return fire and do so accurately and do so often, you are now regulated as an executioner, he pointed out, lamenting that we keep giving our police force basket to carry water and then accusing them of spilling. Mr. Fitzsimit was speaking on Monday with reporters. Psychologist Dr. Lishman Simaji believes the fact that no charges were laid against the officers involved in the fatal shooting indicates that they were justified in their actions. Dr. Simaji said the figures from Indicom would indicate that 14 officers involved in the majority of fatal shootings are good at their jobs given the weighty circumstances under which they have to operate. In any data set, you will have some outliners. You'll have some people who it happened to more than others because of the circumstances they are in, because of their efficiency. Because, let's face it, if you are a good shot, it means that many times when confronted and you have to return fire, it would be more effective than others, he argued. Simaji, who was speaking to reporters, said it is then unfortunate that these officers are singled out for how often they are involved in such incidents while lawfully carrying out their duties in life or death situations. One of Hanover's most wanted captured after 8 years on the run. One of Hanover's most wanted is now in police custody after 8 years on the run. The 53-year-old man Eric Clark, commonly called Legacy, was wanted for murder, which was committed in the rural community of Cash Hill, Patty Hill in the parish. Since the 2014 incident, he has been on the parish most wanted list. Despite living in the same era, Clark managed to elude the police on numerous occasions. Head of the Hanover Police Division, Superintendent Sharon B. Put told reporters that Clark was held by the Hanover Police in a snap raid in Cash Hill, Patty Hill. The senior officer said the community can now breathe a sigh of relief as information gathered had indicated that the man was a threat to women in the area. So that was how far it reached, so I am happy that we were able to capture him, the senior officer added. Superintendent B. Put commended the men and women under her command for what she said was outstanding work. It has been a long while since that man has been wanted, so the fact that we're able to capture him is commendable for the team, and we just encourage them to carry out the hard work continuously, especially as we go through this festive season, stated Superintendent B. Put. Chef gets life for killing teen. A St. Andrew man who shot and killed a high school student who he was having a relationship with have to spend over 20 years in prison for the crime. Amar Fairweather, 31, was sentenced to life imprisonment and ordered to serve 23 years in prison before he is eligible for parole. Fairweather, a chef, was also sentenced to 10 years in prison for illegal possession of firearm and 7 years for illegal possession of ammunition. The sentences were imposed by Justice Bennett Graham Allen in the Home Circuit Court. The charges stem from the shooting death of Jose Martin Technical High School student Dennis Hume, 15, 4 days before Christmas in 2017. Fairweather pleaded guilty to the charges in October. Prosecutor Andrea Martin Swaby led evidence in court that Hume was killed after she sent Fairweather a text message ending their relationship. According to the evidence, Hume was at her Seaview Garden St. Andrew home with other family members on December 21, preparing for Christmas. Fairweather entered the yard and was seen going inside the room with a pistol. Shortly after, a loud explosion was heard coming from the room. When relatives rushed into the room, The 15-year-old was seen on the ground with blood running from her head, and Fairweather was standing over her with a gun in his hand. Fairweather was asked why he killed her and responded, "I no me kill her, she a idiot, as she kill herself." He was then asked if she was dead, and he replied, "She must dead." The accused then retrieved a spent casing, put it in his pocket, and fled the area. Man stabbed to death in Spanish Town, girlfriend in police custody. A woman is now in police custody following a domestic dispute in which a knife was allegedly used to kill her partner in Spanish Town, St. Catherine on Tuesday morning. The deceased has been identified as Tarsha Samudo of Carlitz Road in the parish. It has been reported that about 5:30 a.m., the suspect and Samudo were at home along Carlitz Road when a disagreement developed between them. A knife was reportedly brought into play, and during a physical tussle, Samudo was stabbed. He subsequently died from the injuries he received. The suspect later turned herself in to the Spanish Town police. Carpenter shot and killed in St. Catherine. The St. Catherine North Police are investigating the circumstances surrounding the murder of a carpenter in the division on Tuesday morning. The police have identified the deceased as Shane Stewart, 25, of Rockford, St. Andrew. Residents reported they heard explosions about 6:30 a.m. along Friendship Road, Fraser's Content, St. Catherine. The police were summoned, and upon their arrival, checks revealed that Stewart was shot on the head. No motive has been established in the murder of Stewart. U.S. national fined $30,000 for ammunition. A U.S. national was arrested at the Sangsters International Airport and later charged for firearms-related offenses. This person was fined $30,000 or 30 days in prison when he appeared in the Western Regional Gun Court on December 13. He is 27-year-old Arden Caton, an electrical linesman of Mount Holly, New California in the United States. Reports are that about 1:56 p.m., Caton was going through the security checkpoint at the airport. His knapsack was scanned and odysseys were detected. The police were alerted and the bag was searched. 2 9mm cartridges were found. Caton was arrested and charged with illegal possession of ammunition. Exotic dancer acquitted of murder. An exotic dancer who was implicated in the stabbing death of a man in Portland in May was yesterday acquitted of murder. Kamoya McIntosh was freed in the Portland Parish Court after the judge upheld a no-case submission from her attorney at law, John Jacobs. The woman was charged with the May 2022 murder of Colin Coulson, otherwise called Gamazone, a 33-year-old mechanic of land settlement in Port Antonio. Colin was found lying on his back in a pool of blood in a hotel parking lot on Evelyn Park Road in Port Antonio with stab wound to his chest. Following the incident, McIntosh was arrested and charged. She, however, gave a caution statement in which he explained that she went to rescue Colin's girlfriend, who was being attacked by him, when he turned on her and started choking her. During the incident, McIntosh said the man pulled a knife and she tried to take it away and a tussle ensued. Sometime after, when they separated, McIntosh said Colin walked away with his girlfriend, and while he was walking away, she noticed blood on his shirt. She said she shouted out, "Jesus, me never mean it." Her lawyer during the no-case submission maintained that Colin was killed in self-defense and that his client did not harbor any serious intent to kill or injure him, as there was no excessive force or multiple injuries. Jacobs further argued that Colin was the aggressor and that it was his knife that was used to inflict a single wound to his chest. Based on the statements that were being relied on in the matter, Jacobs further posited that there was no evidence to negate self-defense. Additionally, he said the Crown had not proven that his client has unlawfully killed the victim. The judge in the end accepted the Crown had failed to establish a prima facie case of murder against McIntosh. Attorney at law Courtney Rowe also represented McIntosh. St. Catherine man pleads guilty to being a member of a gang. A St. Catherine man is to be sentenced next year after pleading guilty to gang-related charges in the St. Catherine Circuit Court yesterday. He is 24-year-old Lesburn Simmet, unemployed, of Old Harbour, St. Catherine. When Simmet appeared before Justice Bertram Morrison, he pleaded guilty to being a member of a criminal gang, benefiting from a criminal gang and participating in a criminal gang. He was ordered remanded and is to be sentenced on January 11, 2023. The charges against Simmet stem from an investigation in 2018 by detectives from the St. Catherine South Police Division into the activities of the Sparta gang in Old Harbour in the parish. Finance Minister assures public sector workers they will not have to return allowances paid prior to implementation of compensation review this year. Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark is again assuring public sector workers that they will not have to return allowances paid prior to implementation of the compensation review this year. There has been uncertainty among public sector workers over whether or not the sums would be recovered by the government on the compensation restructuring with effect from April 1, 2022. In clarifying the situation, Dr. Clark assured that will not be the case. He explained what will happen under the new compensation restructuring system.
So in December 2022, persons will receive a paycheck that represents the new compensation system. However, we're implementing that new compensation system as at April 1st of 2022. So we're going back in time. However, persons have already been paid for April, May, June, July, August, September, October, and November using the old system. We are going to top up what they have earned over that period because we're making the new system effective on April 1st. To calculate the amount of that top-up, or otherwise known as arrears, otherwise known as back pay, the best way to explain it is by way of an example. If you received $100, but under the old system, and under the new system, you should have received $130. Then for us to calculate what you should be paid now, we have to take into account the $100 that you've already received, and we would add $30, which is the difference between the 130 and the 100. So we are not recovering any allowance or any pay from anyone. What we are doing is adding to the pay that you have already received for the period April to November with an additional amount, such that when you take that amount into consideration and you add it to what you have already received, it would be equivalent to what you would have received if the new compensation system was implemented on April 1st. Now, it is the case that when you do the calculation, it may result in a negative amount to be paid, meaning it may appear as if the person owes the government of Jamaica. And in those cases, we have given an assurance that if that is what is generated, there will be a figure that would be paid over such that it would raise this amount to a level that the person would receive a minimum increase of 20% on a net basis over the implementation period.
A matter of life and death. An opposition People's National Party PNP councillor on Tuesday urged his colleagues in the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation to support strong measures being implemented against crime. It is a matter of life and death, and it affects all of us. We need to take a strong stand against crime, Councillor Never Wright, Trench Touch Division, said at the final meeting of the KSAMC Council for 2022. While Jamaica Constabulary Force data seen by reporters do not break down crime in specific political constituencies and division, they show that so far this year, a total of 71 murders have been committed in the Kingston Western Police Division. For the entire year in 2021, the number was 106. On October 20 this year, a police corporal from Kingston Western Division was one of 2 men killed by a gunman in Trench Town. On Tuesday, Wright, who is also a pastor, informed the meeting that he will not be a candidate in the next local government election due by February 2022. Councillor Norman Perry, People's National Party Dwinny Park Division, also told the council that he would not be seeking re-election in the upcoming poll. He thanked Mayor Delroy Williams and the corporation's CEO Robert Hill for the help and interest that they, the council, had given the New Haven community in his division. Meanwhile, Councillor Lee Clark, Jamaica Labour Party Whitehall Division, who also chairs the Building and Town Planning Committee, urged the PNP councillors to return to the committee, for which they have resigned in January. In response, Councillor Andrew Swaby, PNP Vineyard Town Division, the minority leader, said that they would consider Clark's appeal. In January, the PNP councillors resigned from the committee due to what they said was a lack of integrity, transparency and efficiency, which the current administration is operating. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the